Good morning. Welcome back to Entrepreneur Country TV, edition 18. This morning, I'd like to share with you some observations about the world around us, but with the pair of glasses that I wear in Entrepreneur Country. In so many discussions that I'm having with the C-level about the ways that their businesses work today in large, very successful, traditional, non-technology incumbent businesses, the CIOs and the CFOs and the CMOs privately share with me that the reason why they're stuck in the rigid world that they live in today, in this kind of straitjacket which prevents them from innovating towards becoming a digital platform, has everything to do with the vertebrae, the system which keeps them erect, their ERP system. And those are SAP, they are Oracle, and a whole host of other players that enable them to scale and to become very successful. But that is version A. And you've heard me talk before about the A-B comparison. Business works like this today, A, and in the future it's going to have to work like this. Distributed models, network-based, mobile first, incorporating consumer data, digital platforms. So a whole host of new ERP players are emerging. Now, Amazon Web Services, AWS, in less than 10 years has emerged as a very powerful player in enterprise storage and being that backbone to business. And last week we saw that Google quietly slipped into that market as well with a new cloud platform business run by the founder of VMware, Diane Greene. If I were running SAP or Oracle or indeed any of those existing ERP players, I would understand that my landscape is under attack. Watch for massive innovation, change, consolidation, and new entrants in the ERP space. The final data point that I wanted to share with you, though, is what do entrepreneurs do in that space when they want to build a world-class company? Well, let's again look at Elon Musk. With Tesla, that amazing software development business that happens to be passionate about green cars, built their own ERP system in less than 4 months a couple of years ago because he recognized that the backbone to his organism, Tesla, had to be agile. It had to enable a different type of movement than what the existing ERP players enabled them to do. That's what entrepreneurs do. They don't wait for the market to deliver their solution. They build it themselves. Stay alive. Whatever you do, stay alive. Those are the words of Hawkeye to Cora in the 1992 film The Last of the Mohicans, based on the book by James Fenimore Cooper with my favorite actor Daniel Day-Lewis. And in so many respects, as Hawkeye screams this across to Cora, I think of every startup that I've ever worked with, where basically the founder is leading his or her team to stay alive in these choppy market waters. And there's so many near-death experiences before you get to the breakthrough moments. And that startup jungle is very addictive. You would think that everybody would go kicking and screaming away from that kind of creativity, but it draws people in. But I contrast that to the kind of very staid, boring boardrooms of corporates that I also operate in, where you would never see an ounce of panic or trepidation about the difficult market waters that large companies are in. They seem to be almost unaware of how fast the world is changing around them, and yet they're kind of like on a camel, and they've got jets flying overhead, and they don't realize that the jets are their competition. So I think constantly about how to get the CFOs of startups and corporates talking together. Why? Because startups understand how businesses are changing and how the impact of these new technologies and business models is changing the operating models of large industry. Next week, you're going to hear from Ed Bussey. He sold businesses to Vodafone and large retailers, but today he's running Quill Content. Quill basically outsources content from retailers and does that on a cloud platform. But what they really do is they make content creation in any language a variable cost for the CFOs of retailers. Fundamentally, if you could have that as your operating model, would you not embrace it? So these are the strategic value discussions that can be had between startups and corporates. Somebody needs to engineer those conversations and basically help those large businesses, whether they're retailers, banks, insurance companies, etc., to understand that their future is intimately tied to the startups, the digital enablers that are fighting to bring those new business and operating models to market. I'm an INTJ. What can I say? Every time I take the Myers-Briggs test, I'm so firmly an INTJ. And I had to smile when I read the recent article that the Financial Times wrote on the Myers-Briggs test, because it said INTJs have creative, original minds, and we go to great extents to bring our perspective on the world patterns that we see emerging. I did, in fact, feel like I was reading about myself. But here's the point, is that I have chosen absolutely not to just have a bunch of INTJs at Ariadne Capital and Entrepreneur Country. Building a great team is all about the quality of the decision making and execution. And to do that together, it's not just about being in your comfort zone with a bunch of INTJs. It's about making sure that as you're playing that game of basketball, that you got the forward and you got the point person, and that you can all rely on each other. And at the Entrepreneur Country Forum on the 19th of April, I'm so pleased that Heather Jackson will be speaking on the future of work, the future of diversity at the Entrepreneur Country Forum. We have some other guest speakers and partners that will be contributing to that discussion as well. So figure out what personality type you are. Don't rest in the supposed comfort of working with people who are just like you. Reach out to other people who bring different perspectives. Build teams which are diverse, because fundamentally, it's all about the quality of the decisions that you take. I hope you all tried out the podcast versions of Entrepreneur Country TV last week. And I'd really like to hear from you. If you've got thoughts about what you'd like to hear on Entrepreneur Country TV, or comments, questions, anecdotes that you want to share, go to the Entrepreneur Country website, where you can find ways of contacting me. I'm easily reachable on LinkedIn, Twitter as well. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for listening this morning. Thank you for sharing with your network, and I'll see you next week.